Bold prediction 9.0, the ninth chapter here. The things that you have told me you believe in enough to put your money on. Here we go. 5 more big ones tonight. First up, we're going to the Big Ten, and it is the following. Both Ohio State and Michigan will make the college football playoff this year. How unprecedented would this be? Totally, because it's never happened for the Big Ten. The only 2 times that teams from the same conference have made the playoff it's been both teams, the Georgia-Alabama combination both times. And so it would be unprecedented for the Big Ten. I made this a 9 on the boldness scale. First off, just because of what I just said, how hard it is. Secondly, I could get with the theory. If you told me that you think Ohio State and Michigan are both going to be good enough caliber teams to make the playoff, you would have a conversation with me. It's the scheduling dynamic that makes it so hard. They play each other the last week of the regular season. So I'm trying to think to myself, obviously there are scenarios out there where it could happen, but what would need to happen? And I think what would need to happen is Michigan would need to lose. You probably got a better shot here if Michigan loses, because if they're undefeated, if Michigan's undefeated and they go into the Big House, or well actually they're going to Columbus this year, and they lose a competitive game, and that's the only blip on their resume, I could see that. I could see them not going to Indianapolis to play for the conference title, or maybe actually they do. Maybe the Big Ten changes their rules like the Pac-12 did. But I could see that. I'm not sure, even if Ohio State's undefeated, I'm not sure if they get that game at home and they lose again to Michigan, even though again shouldn't even enter the equation because it's 1 year and 1 year only. I'm still not sure what that committee would do. So there's a way for it to happen. I'm saying that's really bold, and that's what this segment's for. The national championship odds, Ohio State, the 3rd odds-on favorite right now to win it all at plus 450. Michigan is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are 12th at plus 4,000. And actually, they've got like a 19-way tie with the likes of Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Utah, Oregon, Florida. So it's pretty bold. I'm going to grant you that. 9 is almost as high as we go around here. Next up, got another one. This one's from the Big 12. Oklahoma and Texas are way overhyped. I think we see someone else win the Big 12 this season. Okay, so someone other than OU or Texas wins the Big 12. 7? It's not the boldest thing to say in the world. I mean, we've been propping Texas up for quite a while in preview culture, and they've let us down. I speak in a very inclusive manner there because I have been part of the crowd that's been let down by Texas. But, you know, if you were telling me neither one of them's going to make the conference title game, that'd be one thing. That'd be really, really bold. But we're talking about just neither one of them's going to win the conference. Well, Oklahoma State's a plus 500 right now to win the conference. Baylor's plus 700. OU and Texas, for the record, are number 1, number 2 in the odds to win the Big 12 right now. Plus 175 and plus 210 respectively. But, I mean, I don't think it's the boldest thing in the world. I could easily see Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State making a run there. I could easily see Baylor doing it. I could... You know, it's the Big 12, man, and it's demolition derby year out there. So we were talking the other night about whether anyone was going to win 10 games in the Big 12. So certainly, if we're in that kind of world, everyone has shown vulnerability, significant vulnerability by that point. Yeah, I could see easily someone other than OU or Texas winning out there. Now, the next one, it's tough for me to stomach. It's tough for me to envision this one. So try and picture this. If anyone can sell me on this, short of injury, if anyone can sell me on it, I'd be interested to hear you. Neither C.J. Stroud nor Bryce Young will be Heisman finalists this upcoming season. Take injury out of it. How does this happen? How do both of them play this year and miss out on going to New York? Bryce Young won it last year. C.J. Stroud's one of the top favorites to win it this year. So how do they not get injured and still not make it? They're 2 solid favorites. Obviously, you have got the premier position taken care of here. Both of them are quarterbacks. You've got a couple of top 2 teams, maybe the top 2 teams in the country this year. You've got premier stables of wide receivers for them to throw to. You got a lot of talent in the backfield along with them. And they're both in the pole position because they're high-profile players. And here's a little stat that Stats and Info gave me. In other words, Jesse. This is a really good one. 7 of the top 10 Heisman finalists last year are gone. Only 3 of them are playing this year. And one of them is Bryce Young, one of them is C.J. Stroud, and one of them is our favorite, Will Anderson. So stands to reason, unless you've got injury cropping up, one of, if not both of them, have a very, very good chance to go to New York. I made this one like an 8 or maybe even a 9. Maybe I should have made it a 9. It's very bold to consider neither finalist for the Heisman. The next one's kind of cruel, and I think someone needs to search their heart here. You need to have a little come to Jesus meeting all on your own, but I'm going to read it out here in front of God and everyone. Bradley Hall says Auburn's going 0-8 in conference play this year. I gave this an 8. I think this is pretty bold. I'm not the biggest believer in Auburn this year, but even I think this is pretty bold. Whew. I'm looking at the schedule, though. It's a tough schedule, always is. Auburn's a very, very tough job. Year in and year out, it's one of the toughest schedules in the country. I just need them to win one of the following. Follow along with me. They got Missouri at home. They've got LSU at home. They've got Arkansas at home. They go to Mississippi State, and they've got Texas A&M at home. I got to have you win one of those. Sure, an upset would be great. I'm not counting on you at Alabama. I'm not counting on you at Georgia. Even at Ole Miss, I'm not counting on. But, man, Brian, you guys got to win one of those. You know how rarely I refer to coaches just by their first name around here. Got to win one of those, don't they? So that would be very, very wild. I don't remember many seasons, even seasons where not a lot was expected, where a team just flatlines all year. Yeah, it's happened, but rarely does it happen. There's got to be some uptick. They could even miss a bowl game. There's got to be some uptick. There's got to be one game where, you know, they just have one of those afternoons where everything comes together. It's got to happen. Those home games. I mean, out of Missouri and LSU and Arkansas and A&M, win one of them. Or go to Mississippi State. Just win one of them. The last one here is one that I'm going to spend a considerable amount of time on as the season gets closer. But how about this one to chew on? A first-year head coach is 100% taking his squad to the playoff. Too many good coaches. Checking in from Hollywood, Florida. Keep up the dope work. I think this is going to happen. You know, I actually made this prediction earlier today on HQ. I think this is going to happen. I only give this a 3. I don't think this is bold at all because of how many new coaches are at high-profile programs. Brent Venables is at Oklahoma. Marcus Freeman's at Notre Dame. Lincoln Riley, obviously. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in a second. He's at USC. Billy Napier is at Florida. You can just go up and down the list. Dan Lanning at Oregon. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. I think one of them is going to make the playoff. And I'll tell you what that's going to do. As soon as one of these first-year coaches makes the playoff, it's going to ruin coaching transitions for every future staff. Because in the future, no fan base is ever going to be told you got to have some patience. No fan base is ever going to be told, give me a couple of years, we got a rebuild on our hands. Because they're going to point to Lincoln Riley or Brent Venables or Dan Lanning, whoever makes it this year, and they're going to say, well, he was new. It didn't take him any time. Why should we buy that from you? Do what Lincoln did in 2022. Just go take 15 or 20 kids out of the portal. It's not that easy. What Lincoln Riley and USC are doing is not easy. It's not easy at all. But that won't really matter to a bloodthirsty fan base. So I think one of them's going to make it. I know that's a little out there, but I don't think it's that bold. I think one of them's going to make it.